Welcome back to the Boombox YouTube channel, the home of collaboration with me, Music by Lucas. I'm curious to know, when are you releasing your next track? Be sure to comment the release date or if you're working on any new music and what style it is below. And every month we choose someone who comments to win a $500 gift card for studio gear, plugins, or whatever's gonna help you in your music career. So all these tips that I'm gonna cover today are 100% free and super effective to help you get more streams on Spotify and get more attention to your music, so make sure to stay to the end. Number one is to build a story with your music. So a lot of people don't think of doing this. They just kind of have a release date for their music. Maybe they hype it up about a week before, they release it, and then they move on to the next track. But what's really important is to have an actual story behind your track. What was the purpose of the song? What went into it? What were the feelings? What was the story behind it? What's the behind the scenes? Did you write the melody in a moment of inspiration? Were you going through a breakup? Was it a really hard time in your life? Were you feeling super happy? All of those things help people connect with your track. So the title of the track, the artwork, and the behind the scenes content that you're doing, the way that you announce the track helps people feel connected to the song and helps them want to be part of it and want to be there when it comes out. Even artists who drop a surprise album on a secret date, there's a story behind that. Like, they plan that in advance. They do that drop, they hint about it on their socials, other people start talking about it and posting about it, and it becomes this whole thing like, have you heard about the secret track? So basically what I'm saying is there should always be intention and a story behind every song that you release. Number two, and this is a big one, it's collaboration. Because if you want a lot of people to be there on release day on Spotify, you should be collabing with other artists who have monthly listeners. That way, when your track is released, not only does it go out to the people who are listening to your music often, but it also goes out to their monthly listeners as well. And this is why you should be collaborating with other producers, but also with vocalists and just other people that have monthly listeners in general. Because think of it this way, if you have a track that comes out with, let's say, a producer who has good streams and a vocalist who has good streams, now you're tapping into two fan bases that you don't already have. And the cool thing is, if you're frequently collaborating with different artists, you're continually tapping into different fan bases. And you also see this a lot with bigger artists who collab with other artists outside their genre. Like maybe an EDM artist collabs with a pop artist because they're trying to cross over and bring in an entire new audience to their music. And of course, if you want to do more collaborations, Boombox.io is the home of collaboration. It's the tool. You don't need Dropbox anymore or Google Drive. It stores all your files and makes it easy for you to collab from start to finish on your music. And you can check that out with the link at the top of the description. Number three is to release on labels that have good playlists. So if you're wondering how you can get more monthly listeners than collaborating with artists, singers, etc. that have good monthly listeners, it's to release on a record label that has playlists that have a lot of monthly listeners as well. So you can benefit from those playlists too. Pay attention to how many playlist labels have and if they put their release often on those playlists, because sometimes even labels will have a really good playlist, but they only like prioritize it for their much bigger artists. Take a look and see if that label that you're going to send your music to has big playlists, how many they have, and if they're frequently putting their artist music on those playlists and prioritizing them. Number four, and this can be huge, and that's to remix other artists who have good streams on Spotify. Now this is similar to collabing with an artist, because when you remix an artist, it shows up on that artist profile as well as yours, sort of like a collab, and that gets you a lot more streams on Spotify, especially like I said, if that artist has good monthly streams already. Now, it needs to be an official remix, of course, for you to be able to do this. So if you're wondering how you can do that, if let's say you're a smaller artist, how can you connect and get official remixes for bigger artists? One of the best ways to do that is to do more unofficial remixes that you just release on your Instagram or TikTok and tag that artist to get their attention. Because if you're making really good music, this is one of the best ways to get their attention and one of the best ways to turn an unofficial remix into an official remix if they really like the track. I've seen this happen with a lot of artists that I know, and it can be a really good strategy. Number five has to do with how often you release. So if you're wondering how often you should be releasing, I would say it's around every 4 to 6 weeks if you're releasing singles. This is so you can stay algorithmically in front of the people who are listening to your music, because if you have too big of gaps in between releases, you will then kind of like fall off people's release radar playlist. So for example, if I'm always listening to a specific artist and I'm listening to them often, when they have a new release, Spotify is going to put them on my release radar, put that release on my release radar playlist, and it's going to recommend that artist's new release to me more often. But if that artist doesn't release for a long time and I'm going off and listening to other people, it's going to prioritize prioritize those other people because those are the people I'm listening to now. So that's kind of the thing. You want to keep that momentum going. Just imagine if every 4 to 6 weeks you're doing a new track and it's a collab with this artist that has streams, and then a vocalist, and then you're doing a track with a label, and then you're doing a track with a different art. You're constantly accumulating more and more listeners from different fan bases, and maybe sometimes you're getting on a Spotify editorial playlist, and that's going to get you more listeners, and then you're going to keep those because you're releasing consistently. But you can see how this works and how you can pretty quickly be able to move up and have a much higher fan base, which brings a ton more opportunities. So comment below if any of those tips stood out to you, if you're gonna be collabing more often. Also comment again, when is your next track coming out? Are you working on any new music? What style do you make? Let's make the comment section a way for us all to network together and grow. And don't forget, you can check me out on all socials at Music by Lucas, and of course at boombox.io is where you can find Boombox, and you can get your free account in the description below. See you next time. Bye.